So, Bhante, my mind exhibits such a persistent inclination towards seeking structure and order. I delight in having a to-do list and specific goals as a constant source of motivation and security. When I don't have such things, and instead have chaos, I cannot even keep the precepts. I think that this is somehow a problem because I should be able to stay steady without structure and despite the chaos. Please help.
Well, yes, eventually, but you can stay steady despite the chaos. But until then, structure can help you. Now, obviously, it's what you take that structure to be. Is it just like mindless adhering to the observed norm and requirements of your behavior? Or is it the structure of structuring your day so that you can watch your intentions correctly, not resort to coping mechanisms, meditation techniques, but instead actually study the suttas in a systematic manner, so that you can then apply that with some discipline around your day-to-day activities. So that structure is fine. There is no problem there. But of course, and you would be recognizing that if you start applying it rightly, you would also then begin to see that you shouldn't be depending on the structures, but that doesn't mean that you can't benefit from them initially. So it's not like, oh, I have not developed my mind yet, but I recognize that I shouldn't depend on structures, so I'll just expose myself to absolute chaotic environment because I shouldn't be moved. Well, you shouldn't be moved if you would have completed development of the mind, for which certain structure is required. Gradual training is a form of structure. What you don't do first, what you don't do second, what you do third, and so on. Like it takes gradual development, which is already a form of structuring your practice. Now, if by structure you mean you need a daily routine that's programmed hour by hour and somebody telling you what to do, well, then yeah, you have to abandon that, because that is a way too well, it basically does not translate to the real world. When sickness and aging and death and loss of the loved ones set in, your kind of micromanaged environment in which you were able to practice your mindfulness and so on, where everything was controlled minute by minute, that does not translate. Basically, you would be struggling to remain unmoved, because that environment requires quite a wide basis of maintenance where nothing should go wrong in many different areas, so that you can afford. It's basically a privileged environment, which you won't have. And if you only know how to practice in that type of protected environment, you don't know how to practice. So that's what I mean, like there are layers to the structure. Is it a structure somebody policing my every move and telling me to stop or do it? Or is it a structure of a gradual training? Both can be called structures, but they're obviously on very different levels.
Like one set of structure is very controlling, too controlling.
Well, it's not. That's really not the main issue. The main issue is that the former set, the set of structure where everything is like micromanaged and ordered minute by minute, is a structure that's rooted in avoidance of responsibility. You don't want to think for yourself. You don't want to endure the doubt for yourself. You don't want to wonder, what should I do next? Just give it to me written, set in stone, on paper, the weight of the authority, and I'll just adhere to it because it's easier. And that structure is a structure of the wrong view. But if your structure is structured around your daily activities to support your taking up responsibility and sense restraint and withdrawal from the unwholesome states, that's a fine structure. But you got to be doing it yourself.
Not relying on the world to force it upon you.
Not relying on the world to force it upon you, or to do it for you, taking up the burden of the action.
Because I suppose a person will want to find a teacher, which is a good thing, who will tell me what to do, and I will submit.
So you want to find a teacher so you can learn from, so that you can apply those things for yourself. But yes, for many people, finding a teacher equals finding an external authority to which I'll commit, so I don't have to think for myself. And that's what I mean. It's the core of that type of structure is avoiding responsibility, and that is a that is a prerequisite for successful practice of Dhamma, to have to take responsibility. So it doesn't matter how much effort you invest subsequently upon that structure in terms of practice, you actually killed it at its roots, because there is no responsibility at that fundamental level. So you will have to revert all the way back, abandon it, and then restart.